So, my presentation today is all about management accounting and how to make it more real for students. So the learning intentions, well, for students it's understand the role of management to cost accounting, understand the relationship between financial and management accounting, explain and classify each different types of costs, understand the purpose of the whole product costing and everything, what is absorption, what is marginal, and what are the difference between the two. For you teachers who are watching this at the moment, it's to understand the importance of management accounting in the course as a large percentage of it, be able to see that relating it to real life products and areas piques interest in students. And once students are interested in it, they'll want to study it more. Using active and group methodologies can overcome students' reticence in attempting management accounting for the Leaving Cert. And the average marks there are about 47 to 50 out of 80. So, an overview. Management generally. So management, if you're a manager in any company in the world, involves reasonably four things: planning, organising, controlling and decision making. All of those feed into each other. You need to plan something for it in order for it to happen. You need to organise it to get it all together, to get all your stocks, all your bits, all your pieces. You need to control it to make sure that it's running according to plan. And then you need to make future decisions based on budgeting and based on information that's normally provided by a financial accountant. So the information that's provided by management accounting is vital to a business to enable it to make better informed decisions. The more accurate the information that management receives from the management accounting, or the more accurate that it actually is, the better the management can actually make decisions based on that information. The rationale behind this particular course, the one I'm giving to you today, is to make management accounting more accessible and interesting to students, to tie it into real world and real world situations, because I believe that in real world situations, once they come into the classroom, everyone can see and feel what they actually mean. I think there's a solid base for any or for careers in any management role. So it doesn't matter what company you're working in, whether you're working as a management accountant or not. Larger companies will always have a management accountant, and at least you as a manager in there, middle or otherwise, will be able to figure out what it is they're talking about. So, teaching and learning and assessment methods. As you can see, there's a lovely diagram over here on the right. You can see that anything in green is a manufacturing cost, anything in purple is a non-manufacturing cost, and within the green, the light green is non-direct. The dark green is direct costs. So it's just a simple little diagram to show how easy that is to actually follow through. So the students themselves, you can divide the students into groups, let them choose a product, so any product they like from, for example, shoes. They choose 3 stocks that the product is made up of. So for example, leather, lace and rubber. Working in the groups, you let them come up with the sample setup costs, wages that make their corporation up. So you can sit down and say, well, okay, you're allowed 20 workers directly to make the shoes, you're allowed this amount of that now, so they'll actually write it into it. They'll write direct labour, 20 guys. You can say, well, for every 10 you need 2 administrators, you need 1 sales guy. You just make up the rules. Essentially it's kind of like a game, but you make up the rules for it to suit your actual class. So it's possible to use a large number of active group methodologies for every stage of designing this, from placemats to essentially jigsaws to any kind of drama, because they can do their own presenting. You can have a flipped classroom where you'll actually give them a company background on it and how it works, and then they choose them at home, come in the following day and go through discussions and debates on their different companies. So once companies and groups have been solidified, explain product costing and let them work out their own costs. You can then go through the differences between absorption costing, and you can go through the difference of marginal costing using the companies, or even if you made one company up for the class in greater detail, and at least it's relevant in that case that you can say, right, this is how we'll actually divide out the administration, the sales, the distribution network, just to make sure that that product is working. It can also be used for lots of other things that may come into the syllabus. For example, any kind of limited resource questions or anything like that. So, key skills. I believe that they will be using all of these. So that's the big giant picture. Being literate, being numerate. Being literate is doing up their own designs, writing up the mission statements, key skills for it, or mission statements and mission goals for their companies. Being numerate, there are a lot of calculations used in it. They'll be communicating and working with others. They'll definitely be being creative. They'll be managing a lot of information and thinking about the best use of it. They'll be managing themselves in order to stay on track, to stay focused, and then they'll be staying well because they'll be, well, enjoying it and that kind of crack. Cross-curricular links, well, business and economics, obviously. It'll feed definitely into both. I think it's far more related to business economics than it would be to any kind of financial accounting. History, well, for example, the industrial evolution, there's a lot of it went on there where a lot of the changes that we make and a lot of the way we run companies have changed to fit in better to the new industrial standards and everything that were set up. You can bring in how workplace management, how staff relations, all that went in. Chemistry, for example, the makeup of the different items themselves. So the pharmaceutical industry in Ireland, they would be heavily involved in that, for the makeup of different chemicals that are being sold, the makeup of different drugs, etc. Agricultural science, well, beef goes in one end, goes through a factory, pops out the other. A lot of people might have experience with, for example, working with keypack, etc. Numeracy, they will be doing a lot of calculations involving this, from absorption to marginal costing. Literacy, they'll be writing up their own company goals and mission statements, just as an example. And ICT, well, they'll be fully using either PowerPoint to present their companies. They'll be using Word, Excel, a lot of use of Excel, and looking up other parts for their course. So the challenges that I envision will happen here. The biggest challenge is to make it interesting for students. Management accounting, unfortunately, is attached onto financial accounting, which isn't exactly seen as the most exciting subject in the world, but management accounting, as far as I'm concerned, certainly is. Some students may just not like the role play aspect of running their own company, and may just want to do the numbers. So a lot of students will sit down and go, look, I understand how it works. I don't want this role play crack. I just want to settle down and actually do it. It may take some time preparing the setup, getting it organised, and for each group to be happy to start. So in the very beginning, the setup of the company, getting it all organised, getting down how many different workers, how many rates you're paying them at. You can bring in so many things. You can have it as detailed or as complicated as you like, but that can take extra time for the teacher. So hopefully for yourselves, I didn't include the one for the students, you'll understand the importance of management accounting in the course itself. You'll be able to see that relating it to real life products and areas piques the interest in the students, and therefore gets them more engaged, and they're more likely to learn in a deeper level. Using active and group methodologies can overcome students' reticence to attempt management accounting. So if you make it interesting, you make it real, you make it something that they enjoy doing, they enjoy solving that kind of problem, then they're more likely to actually do it, and we can hopefully increase the marks from 47 out of 80, which is about 59%, up. So, thank you very much, ladies and gents. Best wishes and best good luck. Bye bye.